talking, babe. Stop doing that stupid ass shit. Oh, now you want to sit there like you was just sitting there? I will kill us right now.
At 11:15 p.m. on Valentine's Day 2024, Chasity Rose Sparkman pulled into the Lake Crest Village Shopping Center parking lot in Sacramento, California. She was expecting a conversation. What she didn't know was that the man she was meeting had not come alone, and he had not come to talk.
Still feel like it's a dream. I'm waiting on her to bust through the door.
He is still waiting. Today we are talking about a case that shook Sacramento to its core. A case that started with a childhood love story and ended in a parking lot on the one night of the year that was supposed to be about love. We are talking about the life and death of Chasity Rose Sparkman. And before we go any further, I need you to understand who she was. Not just how she died, who she was. Chasity Rose Sparkman was born in July 1997, right there in Sacramento, California. She grew up in a large, close-knit family. Her father, Alfonso Sparkman, was the father of 20 children. And from everything her family has shared, that house was full of love, full of noise, and full of life. And Chasity, she stood out.
She loved her family. She was very family oriented. If you know my sister, you know you guys could argue one day and she's gonna call you the next and say, I don't care about you being mad, girl, what you doing?
That was Chasity. She was the one who called first, the one who reached back, the one who refused to let the people she loved stay disconnected from her. Growing up with that many siblings teaches you something. It teaches you how to love people through their worst days. And Chasity learned that lesson well. By the time she was in her mid-20s, she was building something real for herself. She was enrolled at Sacramento City College, working toward her future. She was growing her music career on the side.
What she say, yeah. Got this nigga on my line trying to get some time. I ain't fucking with no nigga that ain't splitting dimes. Really on my grind, yeah, bitch, it's fine time. Bitches running up on me, she gon' eat these hands. Really not a fighter, finna throw some bands. If I pop this pussy, bet that nigga dick stand. And if I up this Polly Wally, she gon' do her dance. And if I call about it, Betty put it in my hands. He can't eat me, he gon' treat me. I don't want her mad, tell him free me. Little dumb bitch, why would you ever think? He ain't never ate the 20 cent pussy sting.
She ran a small hair and lashes business, putting in the work every single day to create financial independence for herself and her children. She was not waiting on anybody to hand her anything. And above everything else, above the school, above the business, above the music, there were two people who were her entire world. Her son Zioni, who was 8 years old, and her daughter Princella, who was 6. She documented her life openly on social media, posting happy videos of herself cooking with her children, laughing with them, teaching them. In one video, she tells her kids direct clip her children giggling right beside her. That was not performance. That was a mother who genuinely loved being present with her babies. Now, to understand what happened on Valentine's Day 2024, you have to go back, because this story did not begin in that parking lot. It began years earlier in the hallways of Monterey Trail High School in Sacramento. That is where Chasity first crossed paths with Isaiah Lee James. They had actually known each other since elementary school, but it was during their teenage years that things became something more. By 2013, they were officially together, young, in love, full of plans, the kind of couple that people looked at and smiled because they seemed so certain about each other. Chasity herself posted about him in January 2017, and even in that post, even when she was clearly frustrated, the love was still right there on the surface. Even then, even when she was calling him irritating, even when she was expressing doubt, she was still fighting for it. That tells you everything about the kind of woman Chasity was. She did not give up on people easily. Isaiah also had a previous child with another woman, and that dynamic brought its own tension. There were public back and forths, jealousy, pointed comments online. Isaiah was already showing a pattern of conflict and instability before things between him and Chasity began to deteriorate. Then on March 4th, 2019, Chasity posted a photo of a meal she had prepared for Isaiah. She was proud. She was invested. She was all in. Around this same period, Isaiah was incarcerated. The exact nature of the charges that led to his imprisonment have not been made public. But what is clear is that the moment those prison doors closed behind him, everything between them began to shift. At first, Chasity held it together. She held everything together. She answered his calls. She kept him updated on the children. She posted supportive messages online for everyone to see. She was determined to keep their family intact, even with prison bars between them. But Isaiah was changing. and not in the direction anyone would have hoped. From behind bars, he became consumed by jealousy and suspicion. He began accusing Chasity of not caring about him, of moving on without him, of things she had never done. Every phone call, which had once been a source of connection, became an interrogation. Isaiah is in prison. Chasity is outside raising their children alone, running a business, going to school, and he is the one making accusations. He is the one demanding answers. From a jail cell. That is not love talking. That is control, and control does not care about circumstances. Control finds a way to reach you wherever you are. While all of this was happening, Chasity was human. She was young. She was lonely. And she eventually began a separate relationship with a man named Isaiah Frazier, who went by the nickname AZ Clicko. He was also incarcerated at the time. Chassity's Facebook post, October 28, 2020. You asked me to make it official on this day last year, AZ Clicko, and it's been great with you. I can't complain. Happy 1 year.
His floor hanging up is.
They can't even hear you. Huh? I don't know. Please, can I see that again? Y'all, he got me a picture drawn of me and him. I don't give a fuck. Babe, let me see it. It was so beautiful. I looked hella cute though.
That joy, that genuine, unguarded joy, tells you something important. Chasity was not a broken woman. She was a woman trying to find happiness in complicated circumstances. She was still capable of that kind of lightness, that kind of excitement. Now, could Isaiah James have seen those posts? Could someone have told him? We do not know for certain. But what we do know is that despite everything, despite the tension, despite the calls, despite the distance, Chasity married Isaiah James on September 20th, 2019. She chose him. Even then, that decision speaks to something deeper than logic. It speaks to the kind of hope that only love can produce, the belief that the person you once knew is still in there somewhere, and that maybe, just maybe, the right circumstances will bring them back. But hope alone cannot fix what was happening inside Isaiah James. By August 2022, Chasity was posting things that told a very different story about where her heart was. August 3rd, 2022. I got betrayed while my heart was pure. I'll never forget that. Chassity's Facebook repost, August 3rd, 2022. When a toxic person can no longer control you, they will try to control how others see you. The misinformation will feel unfair, but stay above it, trusting that other people will eventually see the truth just like you did. She was speaking from experience. You do not post words like that unless you have lived them. Chassity's Facebook post, November 2022. I will never think a female is too delusional again. These men are very sneaky in their art of cheating. I'm telling you, just sit back and observe, because a female is not ever that delusional unless she's actually not okay. Now, if you choose to stick beside him, hey, do you? But stop calling that other girl delusional. She's not. Chasity was waking up, slowly, painfully, but she was waking up. And when a person starts reclaiming themselves from that kind of relationship, that is often when the person who was controlling them becomes the most dangerous. Eventually, Isaiah was released from prison, and by the time he came home, he was not the same person Chasity had fallen in love with in those high school hallways. He was harder, more volatile, less predictable, and he had already moved on with a 25-year-old woman named Ayona Tajani Burgos. So now Chasity had to navigate something that no one prepares you for, co-parenting with a man who had become a stranger, while that man was openly in a new relationship. Ask yourself, how do you find peace in that situation? How do you protect your children from the tension while also trying to maintain any kind of functional relationship with their father? That was the impossible position Chasity was in. And on February 11th, 2024, just 3 days before Valentine's Day, she made her final post on Facebook. Chassity's final Facebook post, February 11th, 2024. Getting ghetto is fun sometimes, but the true peace is being surrounded by positive, classy women. I prefer the ones that's older that can teach me something. 3 days later, she was gone. February 14th, 2024, Valentine's Day. Sacramento was doing what Sacramento does on a Thursday night. People were out. Restaurants were full. Couples were celebrating. The city had no idea that by the time midnight arrived, one of its own would be gone. Chasity spent that day the way she spent most days, focused on her children, focused on her life, focused on moving forward. Nothing about that day was supposed to be extraordinary. But Isaiah had other plans. According to family members and witness testimony, Isaiah contacted Chasity that day. He wanted to meet. Just the two of them. He framed it as a chance to talk things through, reportedly about the children, about co-parenting, about finding a way forward. Chasity hesitated, and she had every reason to. Their history was not clean. The calls from prison had been toxic. The relationship had been volatile. She knew who this man had become, and yet there were two children who needed their father present in their lives. Two children who deserved to have their parents functioning as adults, not enemies. That was the weight Chasity was carrying when she made the decision to say yes. Not naivety, not weakness. A mother trying to do right by her children. That evening, Isaiah came to Chassity's home. At first, according to family accounts, the conversation was manageable. Small talk, surface level, the kind of exchange two people have when they are both trying to keep things civil. Then it shifted. Old tensions rose, voices rose, and then Isaiah snapped. He became physically violent toward Chasity inside her own home. Her cousin Vanessa Renee Adams later confirmed to investigators that she had personally witnessed Isaiah assault Chasity that very evening. Chasity fought back. She forced him out of her home. She closed that door behind him. And for a moment it was over. She was shaken. She was hurting. But she was alive, and he was gone. Then her phone rang. It was Isaiah. He claimed he wanted to make amends. He said he wanted to apologize. He wanted to meet one more time in a public place to make things right. And here is where I need to pause, because this is the part of the story that I know weighs heavy on people. The question that comes up every time is, why did she go back? But let me offer you something to consider. Chasity had just been through something traumatic inside her own home. She was processing. She was exhausted. And the man on the other end of that phone was the father of her 6- and 8-year-old children who were going to wake up the next morning and still need both of their parents to find some kind of common ground. She was not thinking about herself in that moment. She was thinking about Zayoni and Princella. That is the part that does not get said enough. Women in these situations are not making decisions from a place of total freedom. They are making decisions from a place of responsibility to their children, responsibility to the family unit they spent years trying to hold together. Chasity agreed to meet Isaiah one more time. The location, Lake Crest Village Shopping Center, Florin Road, Sacramento's pocket neighborhood. The time around 11 p.m. By that hour, the shopping center was quiet. A few late-night shoppers, the kind of stillness that settles over a parking lot when the day is winding down. The Valentine's Day decorations still visible in the store windows nearby. Chasity pulled in at approximately 11:15 p.m. She stayed in her car for a moment waiting. Then Isaiah arrived, but he was not alone. Sitting right there beside him was Iona Tahani Burgos, his girlfriend. Chasity had agreed to a private conversation with the father of her children. She had come despite everything that had already happened that same evening because she believed there was still a chance to find some kind of peace for the sake of Zayoni and Princella. And he brought his girlfriend. Now, what exactly was said in those next few moments is not fully documented in the public record. What we know from witness accounts, from the investigation, from everything the family has shared, is that the encounter did not last long because Isaiah had not come to talk. Within moments of Chasity stepping out of her vehicle, Isaiah produced a weapon. He fired. Chasity went down in that parking lot alone, under the cold light of those shopping center lamps on Valentine's Day, far from her sleeping children. Isaiah and Iona did not stop. They did not call for help. They got back in that car and they left. A nearby witness heard the shots and immediately called 911. Sacramento police officers and paramedics responded within minutes, racing to Lake Crest Village Shopping Center with everything they had. When they reached Chasity, they worked to stabilize her and rushed her to the nearest hospital, but her injuries were too severe. Chasity Rose Sparkman was pronounced dead at the hospital. She was 26 years old. The news hit Sacramento like a wave. By morning, her family was devastated. Her community was in shock. And the two people responsible, Isaiah James and Iona Burgos, were nowhere to be found. They had vanished. What followed was one of the most intensive investigations Sacramento had seen in years. The Sacramento Police Department reached out to the FBI for assistance. Surveillance footage was analyzed, phone records were obtained, financial transactions were tracked, every lead was followed through. Alfonso Chassity's father was publicly vocal from the very beginning. He made a post on Facebook directly naming Isaiah and Ayana. "They took a part of me away from me and my grandchildren. These people hurt my baby Chasity Sparkman and think they are going to get away with it, but I can't let this happen. So everybody respect my wishes and repost this. Let me know if you see them." A father's grief turned into action. The family set up a GoFundMe and a Cash App account under Justice for Chasity to support Princella and Zayoni. And on February 21st, 2024, 1 week after the murder, more than 100 people gathered at Lake Crest Village Shopping Center for a candlelight vigil. They wore pink. They carried heart-shaped balloons. They stood in that same parking lot and they called her name.
Justice for Chasity. Justice for Chasity. More than life itself, Chasity loved her children. Her children was her world. Everything Chasity did was for her kids. She never missed saying, "I love you." When she exits, she gonna let you know that she loves you.
It didn't have to happen.
She's nothing but joy, you know what I'm saying? And man, we just love her. We just miss her so much.
Meanwhile, the manhunt was intensifying. Isaiah and Ayana had crossed state lines. Law enforcement tracked their movements through surveillance cameras, financial transactions, and tips from the public. They moved carefully, avoiding detection, staying mobile. But in today's world, you cannot outrun a federal investigation indefinitely. The breakthrough came. Authorities received intelligence that Isaiah James and Ayana Burgos had been located in New York City, over 2,800 miles away from Sacramento. In a coordinated operation between the Sacramento Police Department and the FBI law enforcement closed in. On March 12, 2024, Isaiah James and Ayana Tajane Burgos were taken into custody in New York City. No dramatic chase, no standoff, just two people who thought distance would protect them suddenly face to face with the reality that there is nowhere far enough.
The Sacramento Police Department says Isaiah James and Ayana Burgos, both 25 of Sacramento, were taken into custody in New York City.
Our hope is that, just at the very minimum, we can provide some justice, some closure. Because you commit a crime here and you think that you're going to get away by going to another city or another state or across the country, our investigators are really world class and they're going to find you.
The arrests happened on the exact same day as Chassity's homegoing service at St. Paul Church on 14th Avenue in Sacramento. While her family was saying their final goodbyes, justice was being served on the other side of the country. Her aunt Dee Dee, the woman Chasity had already arranged to take care of Princella and Zayoni if anything ever happened to her, found out about the arrests right before the funeral service began. She said the children, when they found out, jumped for joy, 6 and 8 years old, and they jumped for joy because even at that age, they understood enough to know that something important had happened. Both Isaiah James and Ayana Burgos were detained in New York and faced extradition back to Sacramento to answer for homicide-related charges. The long road toward justice for Chasity Rose Sparkman had officially begun. When Princella and Zayoni woke up the morning after Valentine's Day 2024, their mother was not there. She was not there to make breakfast. She was not there to help them get dressed. She was not there to say, "I love you," before they walked out the door. And she never would be again. Think about what that means for a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old. Think about the questions they must have asked. Think about who had to answer them. Her sister Lasha Lynn spoke about what those first days looked like for the family.
It's really hard for her kids. My auntie has to sit here and, deal with the mood swings, and she's trying to cope herself, so we're not okay. We're trying to be, but we're not okay.
That is the reality that gets left behind when a life is taken this way. It is not just one person who loses everything. It is an entire family that has to figure out how to keep breathing. Chasity had already made arrangements before that night for her Aunt Dee Dee to take custody of Princella and Zayoni if anything ever happened to her. Let that land for a moment. She had already made that arrangement. A 26-year-old woman had already thought ahead far enough to put something in place for her children. Whether that came from a place of genuine fear or simply responsible planning, we cannot say for certain. But what we can say is that Chasity loved those children enough to make sure they would be taken care of even in her absence. And Dee Dee, true to the promise she had made, stepped up without hesitation. Those children are being loved, they are being held, and they are being raised with the memory of a mother who gave everything she had for them. On February 21st, 2024, 1 week after Chasity was taken, Sacramento showed up. More than 100 people gathered at Lake Crest Village Shopping Center, the same parking lot, the same spot. They brought candles, they brought pink balloons, they brought flowers, and they brought their voices. Quote here.
She's nothing but joy, you know what I'm saying? And man, we just love her. We just miss her so much.
Don't forget about my sister. Don't forget that my sister is not here anymore because she was somebody important.
Going to school for business, she was just starting out with her music career, and like I just can't say enough violence. We gotta stop. We gotta stop the gun violence.
Justice for Chasity. Justice for Chasity.
We love you.
Her father Alfonso stood in that crowd, a man who had already buried brothers, sisters, his own mother and father, and said something that no sentence can fully prepare you for. Quote here.
I want to know the truth because it hits different. You know what I'm saying? People understand, I've lost a lot. I've lost a lot in my time, brothers, sisters, mother, father, stuff like that, cousins. But it hits different when it's your child. You know what I'm saying? I don't have that kid blowing my phone up all day, every day no more.
20 children. And this was the one that broke him. 2 years later, in February 2026, as Valentine's Day approached again, Chassity's sister, Nayana Alyssa, made a post that stopped people in their tracks. This Valentine's Day, on my sister's passing, we want to remember Chasity in a loving way. Instead of doing a balloon release this year, I'm asking family and friends to bring a single rose and place it at the spot where she lost her life at any time during the day. I believe choosing roses instead of balloons because Valentine's Day is about love, and her middle name being Rose will make this tribute more personal. Each rose will represent the roses she should have gotten that day. It does not have to be done all at once or as a group. Just come sometime that day when you're able. That way later, we will be able to go back and really take in all the love she had on earth. Please remember her children still miss her dearly, and they need to know that she will never be forgotten. Her middle name was Rose, and on the day that was supposed to bring her roses, she received none, so her family brought them for her 2 years later. Because love does not have an expiration date, and grief, real grief, does not follow a calendar. Now I want to talk to you directly for a moment, because Chassity's story is not just a true crime case, it is a mirror, and what it reflects is something that too many people in our community recognize. The pattern of a relationship that starts with genuine love and slowly, quietly, becomes something unrecognizable. The jealousy that gets mistaken for passion, the control that gets excused as protectiveness, the isolation that gets justified as loyalty, and then the moment when leaving, which should be the safest decision, becomes the most dangerous one. Because here is what the data tells us and what Chassity's story confirms. The period after a woman decides to leave an unhealthy relationship is statistically the most dangerous time in that entire relationship, not during, after. Isaiah did not become dangerous when Chasity was still fully committed to him. He became dangerous when she started building a life without him, when she filed for divorce, when she focused on her children, her school, her business, her music, when she started posting about surrounding herself with positive women and finding real peace. That reclamation, that growth is what he could not tolerate. And Iona Burgos. Her role in this case raises questions that have not been fully answered in the public record. What did she know going into that night? What was she told? What did she agree to? These are questions that the legal process will ultimately have to address. But what we do know is that she was there, she was present, and she left with him. That is a choice that will define the rest of her life. Here is what I want you to take from Chassity's story. Not fear, not hopelessness, not a checklist of things to avoid. What I want you to take is awareness. Awareness that love and control are not the same thing. Love gives you room to breathe. Love does not interrogate you from a jail cell. Love does not show up to a conversation with backup. Awareness that children deserve to see their parents healthy, not just present. A father in their life who brings chaos and danger is not the same as a father in their life who brings stability and love. Chasity was trying to give her children both of their parents. That was a beautiful intention. But your safety has to come first, because without you, those children have nothing. And awareness that when someone shows you who they are consistently, repeatedly over time, that is not something love alone can change. If you are in a situation that feels familiar right now, if something in this story is hitting too close to home, please reach out. Talk to someone you trust. contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline. You do not have to navigate that alone, and you do not have to wait until things escalate to ask for help. Chasity Rose Sparkman was not just a victim. She was a daughter who made her father's phone ring every single day. She was a sister who called back first every single time. She was a mother who made eggs with ducks in them and laughed with her babies on camera. She was a student, an entrepreneur, a musician, a woman who 3 days before she died was still talking about surrounding herself with positivity and wanting to learn and grow. She was 26 years old with everything ahead of her.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay. Cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency. A message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with. Now they looking nervously, and I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you better see. I will outwork.
Isaiah James and Iona Burgos are in custody. They face homicide-related charges. And when that day in court arrives, Chassity's family will be there, because they have never stopped fighting for her. And neither should we. Rest easy, Chasity Rose. Your children know you loved them. Your family has not forgotten you. And your story, the real one, the full one, the one that starts with who you were and not just how you died, that story is being told. If this case moved, you share it. Not for the numbers, but because somewhere out there, someone needs to hear this story before they end up in a situation they cannot walk away from. Leave your thoughts below. This community is a space for real conversations, and this one matters. This is Deadly Affairs. I'll see you in the next one.